Hey, welcome back. Make his path straight. Last lesson we talked about the church at Smyrna. This lesson, we're going to apply what we learned about that church to ourselves. So very, very important. And why would we do that? Because Jesus talked about their works. He talked about their praise, rebuke, curative, all these aspects, those 6 verdicts. And yet, the church isn't a what? It's a who. That's why it says, if you got an ear, listen to what the Spirit is saying to the churches. Why does he say that? So that you and I then can learn. Really, it's a feature of this. God is going to instruct us as he does, as we learned in the last lesson, but he's also going to teach us. He's going to shoot arrows at us such that the word becomes a place of conviction for us, right? That we learn to submit to the authority and live righteously. How do we do that? By taking what he taught these churches and turning that right back on ourselves then. That's the way we do that. So it really is a feature of our works, our praise, and what Christ has to say about rebuking us or giving us counsel or warning us, and that what would happen when we overcome. So let's get back right at it, shall we? So what was his verdict on his works in this church? Well, he said that they lived in poverty and tribulation. They had those 2 aspects of them, and then they fought against blasphemers. So what about me? Am I accepting of adversity? When things get a little rough, do I flee? Do I turn to worldly pursuits and use what the world tends to do to get rid of things? I flee or I distract myself in material gains? Am I over concerned with material gain? This bit about poverty, real spiritual poverty, is to say, hey, listen, when I am weak, then I am strong. That's what God talks about, real strength, right? That's real riches where moth cannot destroy and rust break up. None of that. Because that's what that's about. But am I over concerned with material gain? That's a great question to ask myself. And then, are we vocal when people slander God? Are we one of those who just sit quietly by and just kind of take it? Hey, they express themselves the way they want to, and yet I don't stand up for Jesus and say, listen, that's not the way. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that. Am I that person? So that applies to ourselves. That's a tough arrow getting shot right there into our bosom. What did he say about praise for them? Well, they were deemed rich. They were deemed rich. That's interesting, isn't it? And then, do I have a right understanding of possessions? That's really the question. When I see the word or experience the word rich, am I thinking material gains? Generally, to be honest with you, I am. I'm thinking, well, that must, if you're rich, you got these things, these possessions. This. Hey, do I have a right understanding of possessions? That's the question for me. And then, am I generous and open-handed? Otherwise, do I just hold all the stuff that God gave to me to myself because I'm selfish and greedy? They were deemed rich because they were open-handed, How about his verdict on rebuke at this church? He had nothing. Christ had nothing to rebuke them for. Wow. Wow, that would be so cool if that was us, That he had nothing to rebuke us for? Maybe that's true in your life and my life if we're living on the Jesus path. And the next was curative counsel. What advice can he give us to cure our way? What counsel will he give us? Well, he said, don't fear the suffering which is to come. And to know, hey, you're going to be tested. And then he says to them, remain faithful, even unto death. Even unto death. Well, do I recognize that suffering is part of the Jesus path? Do I really know that? And the stuff I go through, that's all comes with the territory when we become a believer, And then testing has a purpose. There's nothing strange in it, nothing that happens by accident. It has a purpose. Is this part of my DNA? Do I understand that that's true, And am I prepared to die for the cross? It might be to die like in Roman times when they fed them to animals and that kind of stuff. That's that death. But also to live my life in such a way that I give up and die to the ideas of the world, the traditions of men, the elementary principles of the world, and how the world operates. Am I willing to die for that, for the sake of the cross? Those are questions then I could shoot at myself when I learn from this about curative counsel. And how about grave warnings? What did Christ have them for a grave warning? Nothing. Wow. Wouldn't that be cool to stand before Jesus and he says, really, I got no grave warnings to give you? That's how we need to live. That's what we're aiming for here, That's why we're going through all this exercise together, What about, what did he say about those who overcome? To those who overcome, well, he said, they shall not be hurt by the second death. Am I sure of my eternal destiny? Do I really know how things are going to be with me forever and ever and ever and ever? Right? That is crazy, right? Am I really sensitive to that? Am I alert to that? Well, hey, maybe we should stop a second and talk about eternal destiny, because he says, is my name written in the book of life? Is my name written in the book of life? Now, friend, you may be listening to me as a seasoned believer who've walked the Jesus path for long years, or you might have just tuned in. So let's just think about that a minute. What does it mean, eternal destiny? So here's a question. What would you answer if God asked you today, why should I let you into my heaven? Now, there's many answers to that. I'm a good person. I haven't killed anybody. I'm better than most people I know. I support the food bank, and et cetera, et cetera. This sort of an answer is called a works answer. That because I've been doing certain things, my eternal destiny is secure. Well, the Bible doesn't teach that at all. Not by works at all. All our righteous deeds are like filthy garment. The best we can do is a filthy garment, Isaiah warns us, A faith answer, then, which is distinguished from a works answer, we must individually believe and accept that the death and bodily resurrection of the Lord Jesus is the only means for the forgiveness of sin and eternity in heaven. The only means. So the question is, if my answer looks like this, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to take time to think about what Jesus did for me, that he died for my sake, that the stuff that was going on in my life that I couldn't overcome, he nailed to the cross. Come to the cross. Talk to him today, right now, right this instant. Say, Lord Jesus, I pray that you'll hear this prayer, that I want to follow you on the Jesus path, that the blood of Christ might cleanse me forever and ever, that my eternal destiny will be sealed in you. Such an important thing, and God bless you for going through that. Call a local church. Get hooked up with people whom you know are believers and ask them and say, listen, I just talked about Jesus and getting squared away with him, and I'm anxious to live a better life. That's so important. So that's basically our ideas and learning from Smyrna. Our next time that we meet together, the church, we're going to move forward to Pergamum, and that's a little farther north yet. And that'll be lesson number 107, our next lesson in that church. Okay? So please contact me. Maybe there's a question you had about this idea of becoming a believer and living in a faith answer to the question about eternal destiny. Give me a text. Let me know what you're going through. Be happy to respond to you personally about it. Until then, may the Lord bless you as you go.